Alright, 2002 Honda Accord 4-cylinder BAXA trans. We're going to be assembling this one. And this came in with your typical clogged screen. It did not move when it got hot. We definitely verified that complaint. Also had a TCC code. So we're all ready to go together with this thing. So I'm going to get a little closer and we will start with the assembly of the valve body. And then I have the drums already done with the shafts. And we'll assemble the unit. Okay, so I'm going to get a little closer and we will get started. Okay. First thing we're going to do is put our plate on. I got the line-up dowels here and for the pump gears. So just going to put this on for now. And right now the pump gears, I like to check the clearance in the pump gears. Okay, so I have on my feeler gauge point 002. Alright, just kind of put the straight edge across it, and this actually is pretty good here. Now it's tight. The max I would go is 0025 if it fits. You know, fairly easy under the pump gear with the point 0025, then at that point I would consider getting another valve body. I had an issue once when it got hot. I would lose probably about 25 pounds of my base line pressure, and that developed into a delay. When it got hot, it ended up being the pump was worn out. That wasn't a 5-speed unit though. Okay. Okay, now this pump gear has a groove on one side. Okay, no groove on this side, but the groove is going to face down. Okay, manual valve. Alright, so all my valves are free. And I have a Sonex end plug here and here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and set this on. Okay, here we go. Alright. Got 3 12mm bolts around the pump and 1 10. Alright, the 3 12mm. They're going to be torqued to 130. Pump gears are turning good. And then the 10s, we're going to do those at 100. Okay. Okay, we got a seal, new seal on this side. the screen here. They come in the overall kits. Okay, that goes there. All right, now I'm going to put the accumulator body on. If you take this plate off, there's a couple of check balls behind this plate. Alrighty. This is where the secondary shaft is going to go, which is first and second gear. Alright, let me get a little bit of an extension. Now let me just use this for that until I can find one. Okay, we got one feed pipe, goes there. All right, so next what we're gonna do, all right, so let's put, line up pins here, here, and here, okay. Get the converter check valve. All right, another ball and spring here, relief valve. Okay, next thing we gotta do is put the linkage on. Okay, so this is gonna slide through here. Alright, so now we have the detents hooked up, so this will click as you turn it. Okay. Alright, got a couple of accumulators here. You got your clutch pressure control valve, valves A and B, and your reverse. Okay, so this will go on. Okay, here we go. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. extension. Kind of start in the center, work your way out. We got an O-ring on here. Like the actuator for the coverage. I put this on first because it covers the bolts here. Alright, we got another screen. That goes in that way, like that. Pressure brake valve. And I believe we got a lockup valve here. Okay, you know what, a couple of feed tubes. Actually, I'm going to put those in a few minutes because I got accumulators to go in there. Okay. Okay, 3 feed tubes. These are all the same size. And then 1 shorty. I'll go there. Okay. Got a couple of accumulators. These are both the same. Turn my light back on here 1 second. This actually is an OE filter, filtrane. And put it behind here. And usually these filters, make sure you got an O-ring. You know, most of them come with the O-ring. Okay. You got two bolts, a long one and a short one. That's pretty easy to figure that out. Okay, then we have the D10 for reverse. And that's going to go right on there. Okay, that's right here. So let me just get set up, put the diff in, pinion shaft, we're going to load the shafts up. And then put the main case on. Alright, so these are where the bearings ride. Okay, let me get set up for that. I will be right back. Okay. All right, here is the differential. All right. Set that in place. Then we got the pinion gear. Okay. All right, now the main shaft, I might just have to change the angle here. All right, so the main shaft, we got a bearing here, and then we got two Teflon rings. I have them greased in already. All right, so this is third and fourth. Third here, fourth here. I just want to switch angles. I want to air check this through the top where the feed pipes come in, so you can see how it applies. All right, so I'm going to apply air through the top, and it's probably going to apply both clutch packs. So that's good. And all right, so this is third and fourth. Okay, now here we'll do first and second. This is second, and this is first down here, but first gear will apply through there, and I'll show you where second comes in. All right, see, second isn't moving at all, but that's good. Okay, and second, this goes into the accumulator body, and second doesn't get fed through a feed tube, it gets fed through this feed hole down here. So let's make sure that's good. Yeah. Okay. You know what? Actually, let's see if we can. Yeah, if it holds the pressure. Yeah, so that's good. That's a good apply. Okay, let me just reposition. Give me 1 second, and we will continue. Okay. All right, so we have our main shaft. All right, this is third, and there's you know, just bearings and stuff down here. You'll see, basically it looks like fourth and second I'll put the hubs on. So this here, we're gonna put right in place. Okay, and you know what I gotta do? I think it is hitting the bench. So I'm gonna get a small pushing driver. And I'm just gonna hold this up like that. All right, let me fix this here. Okay. All right, now second. We got our rings on. Oh, and you want to make sure there's no ring grooves in that accumulator body. Sometimes they do get it. It's fairly common. This one is okay though. Okay, so that's good. That's in place. All right, so here we're going to set up our reverse. Okay, so we've got a bearing. Actually, you know what we're going to do first? All right, so fourth gear. All right, here's the whole setup. Two bearings, two round bearings, a flat bearing. That's just gonna sit right on there. Fourth gear hub. Spin it right on. And then you have another bearing, flat bearing that sits on top. And a race. Okay. Alright, so next we have the slider. Okay, and the important thing about this slider is there's two different gears here. Okay, and you have to look at how the teeth are. Because if you put this in upside down, it's going to grind in reverse or it's going to notch backwards. All right, so on what I usually go by, I kind of take a look at it. So this side is going to face down, so we got a step here that faces up, but the step facing up doesn't necessarily go for every transmission. You got to look at how the teeth are. You got to look at how the teeth are on this side and how they are on this side. All right, and just kind of match it up. Just kind of match it up with the way the teeth are shaped. Here and here, it's the same. So that's what you got to kind of look at, or just, you know, take a good look at it before you pull it apart. All right, we're going to turn this around because the threads end here and they begin here. So we're going to turn this around. All right, there's a hub, and this little recess on this hub is going to face up. Okay, and then we can put this on. You got to kind of line the hole up here. Let me get the bolt for that. Okay. So you got a little 10 bolt with a locking. All right. Then you bend the tab over. Okay, that's good like that. do is we're going to put the second hub on. All right, so we have again, we got a washer that's got to fit into some splines here so it doesn't move. All right, that's good. Flat bearing, round bearing, and the hub. Okay, then you have another flat bearing. These, you got to look at these flat bearings on the secondary. Sometimes they do tend to go bad. Okay, now we're going to put this like idler gear in here, or reverse gear. Bearing. There we go. Okay. All right, so the next thing we're ready for now is the main case. And we got our dowel pins. I gotta look and see. I see one in the case, that'll go here. Okay. So the other one, got it. Okay. All right, so we got 3. All right, so what we want to do now, put a little grease here, so this thing isn't dry. Put a little grease on this one, here. All right, so now we're ready for the main case. Let me get the main case up here. I want to get my bolts ready. And we got to talk about the idler gear on this main case. Because it'll fit both ways, but it can only go one way, and I will explain that. All right, that's this gear here. All right, let me just get set up with my bolts, get the case up here. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so we're ready for the main case. All right, I have my gasket on, and when I put the gasket on, I like to spray it with some of this high-tack. All right, and there's a couple of gaskets. I use Trans-Tech kits, and there's 2 different gaskets as far as the main case goes. And I also believe maybe for the end cover too. So you want to make sure that you use the right one. The difference is in this general area right here. The gasket that's wrong really doesn't cover a part of the case, and it's exposed. All right, so you got to just kind of, I put them both on and just kind of look at them to make sure it's correct. All right, so before we put the main case on, we have to slip this idler gear in place that goes in right here. All right, now this is important. I want to show you. This idler gear, you see it kind of has a groove going around here on the inside where the recess is, and this doesn't have anything. All right, you have to make sure these actually is different on this side than it is on this side. Okay, so you have to make sure the groove faces you. If you put it in the wrong way, it's going to sit higher, and as soon as you start this car and start rolling, it's going to be hitting the gears. You know, so you'll definitely know something's wrong because it'll be making a noise. So this right here, this line, that's what I look at, faces up. All right. All right, so we're going to be ready. We're going to slide this in, but you know what? Let me just do one thing here, and I'm going to be back in a second. Okay. I'm going to spray this up here, this gasket, both sides. All right, now I'm going to put this underneath. Okay, now we can put the rest of that together later. All right, so we got the bearing greased up. We have this in a certain position. I think it might be low, but there's a slot here that you got to line up like this little pin with. All right, so that's in. We got the idler gear in with the little groove facing up. Got our feed pipes in. Okay, because some of these are not going to come all the way through, and some are going to come all the way through. Okay, so I think we're ready. All right, just watch that idler gear. Okay, that's it. That is on. Now we can move our idler gear in place. All right. All right, this here. I'm gonna put all the case bolts in place here. There. And we'll go there. And then okay. This one. Okay. All right, let's just tighten a couple down. All right, this is a 14. Yes. Okay. Looks like I'm missing. Oh, you know what? When he took it apart, he actually took the bolt out. So I'm missing one bolt. So what I'm gonna actually do, I'm not gonna tighten this particular one all the way down. I think there was a bracket or something that he had to take out. So I'll just leave this one a little loose so we can get lined up. And the rest you can tighten. And before I even tighten any of the bolts, you want to make sure the case is all the way down. You don't want to draw the case down or anything with the bolts. The thing's set flat, and I knew it was okay to put the bolts in and tighten them up. If the case is not sitting flat, then there's something wrong. All right, I like to make sure these things are tight. tight, and these are turning okay. All right, so now let's put our idler in place. All right, and you have this side which looks like that, and this side with a cutoff. All right, that is going to face up to match this on the inside. Okay, and this you just slide it right on, line up the bolts. Alright, now we're going to put our linkage in place here. Let me just figure this out too. Alright, so this is going to go this a little over. Okay, so you have the little spring here, and this drops on and attaches on. Well, it stops by that little pin that sticks out that you have to line up to get this in, to get the cases on. All right, and then you have this piece goes right in here. All right, so your bolt hole is facing out. And you slide that on, and then you just got to kind of line up the bolts. Has another lock. The linkage can get a little confusing. I remember the first couple of Hondas I did back in the day. It took me a while to figure out how it went. All right, so let's get a 10 wrench. Right, now we're going to bend that tab over. Okay. Lock and pull. Goes through this goes through here, and then you just gotta maneuver the spring to go into this little hole here. And it's gotta go into the small hole in the case too. Okay, and then you have a little rod to keep this from moving back too far. So that'll go like that. All right, so next we're gonna put the park gear on. Park gear here. That's on. All right, I'm going to put the other two gears on. Okay, this one's going to go here. This one's going to go here. could put this one away. And we'll get a smaller one. Okay. That bearing pops up. Okay. This here, here's the bearing, another bearing here. That you want to grease in place, because you don't want that to move when you're knocking the top piece on. Okay, and you want to make sure that you put this on correctly. It's perfectly even with the other gears. The other way, it doesn't sit right. Okay, then we have another bearing and the top. And you want to make sure this bearing, grease it in good, because when you're hitting it in, it could move. I've seen that before. Okay, then we'll put the washers in. And one of these nuts, okay, so now what I'm going to do actually, I'm going to put this in park. Okay, there's that. And one of these goes the opposite way. Okay, so this one will go on here. You want to look for the arrow. Okay, the arrow shows which way it tightens. I think that was on this one. No, must have been this one. Yeah, okay. And this is regular here. Now, if you want to put a dab of Loctite on them, you can. I wouldn't go too crazy with it because you are going to peen it over. Let me just get set up for this now. I've got to get my torque wrenches out, sockets, and let me just get set up for that. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to torque these top ones down to about 80 foot-pounds. Okay, there's that. Now, we're going to do these two at the same time. So these are opposite each other. Alright, now pretty much where everything was peened, you know, initially when I first took it apart, everything's back in the same place. Alright. So then we give it a shot, we peen it over. I use too sharp, but this is more of a blunt chisel here. Use just for this. Okay, and the last one. Okay. All right, now with this one, I'm going to turn this. Okay, now we have this here. Because this is probably something for lube. And that is around a 5mm Allen key socket. Okay, and then we got a couple of lube pipes that go in. Okay, they go down into the valve body, and then they bolt in as well. Okay, the bolts here. Alright, so next we're going to put our end cover on. Alright, and again we have a couple of different gaskets. And that one is there's an opening here, so that's what you go by. Okay, so these are the two that they give you. So this is the one that we're using, and you can see this is what the opening looks like in the case. And the other one is like that, and it certainly doesn't look like that. So we know it's not that one. Okay. I gotta put my O-rings in here. Okay, so here's the feed pipes. All right, I take these out and I put new O-rings behind them. And there's bushings down in the shafts, and you want to make sure that these, where you can see the shiny part where the bushing rides, and you want to make sure these are smooth as glass. Okay, because if the bushings are worn out, I've changed them before. For the most part, they're good, but I have changed the bushings before, and I've had to get other feed pipes. So if this is rough, not smooth, it's stepped, you may want to take a look at that bushing, possibly change that bushing. The oil will leak into another clutch drum, possibly lock up, causing bind ups. All right, so here we got to put 1, 2, 3 O-rings. So let me get those. Okay, give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second, let me just get set up for that. All right, so we got the gasket in place. Give it a little spray here on the bottom. Okay. To put a little grease on the feed pipes and on the dowels. Okay, so I got my 2 O-rings here, 1 O-ring here, got some grease on the feed pipes. And now we just got to kind of fit this thing in place here. Again, you don't really want to force it. You got to get these pipes in. Sometimes it's easier, Sometimes it takes a little while. Okay, again, went right down, and it is flat. That's good. Got a couple of different lengths of bolts here, but again, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory what would go where. You know, you put a 12 bolt in the wrong hole, you know, it sticks way up, you know, that's not right. Okay, that looks good. And I've got a couple of solenoids that go down here. They usually mark the solenoid, you know, with an X on it, then I put an X on the case. 3 O-rings. I like to change. Ready? Okay, let's do the speed sensor. It's here. Okay. All right, where are my linears? Okay, here is two on the bar here. One's lock up, one is shift. And put those on. I just gotta find where my linears are. Okay, all right, let me just get set up for that. Give me one second. So I'll put the linear solenoids on. You got 3 little feet types. You got screens in each one. All right, the screens are going to face in. Okay. All right, these linears generally, you know, these are pretty good. These back here, they have like Allen key heads. These are adjustable, but this is how they are calibrated, so I honestly don't recommend to touch that. Okay. this one here. So this will, I don't have the bolts. The installer must have taken the solenoids that go here. So I actually got to go get those bolts, but I'll show you the solenoids. There's a screen and just simple 3 bolts. They're on. Okay, these are the solenoids again. These are going to go here. They probably pulled them off maybe because the lines maybe have been in the way because they cross over here. So it's just really 3 bolts. This hooks up to the line. There's a bracket on the cooler line that this snaps into. Simple, 3 bolts, and that's it. It's on. I gotta go. I'm gonna just wait for them to get in, see if they want me to put that back on or not. All right. And then here is a vent. Goes on here, and it gets positioned however it gets positioned. And that's it. Okay, you got the seals in. Axle seals, front seal is in. What I do as far as the front seal goes, because it's a little tough to get it in once the unit is together, and there's really no chamfer. So before I put any of this stuff in, before I even put the valve body on, okay, this is turning good. Before I even put the valve body on, I knock the seal in, because you have this, and nothing is in the way. I get it centered, I use a bushing driver, and it goes right in. And the very tip here of the main shaft, you'll see that it's a little shiny. This is where it fits into the converter, and I believe, we don't do anything with converters here, but I believe that there's a bushing, not a seal, that seals the converter oil. All right, so you want to make sure that this is perfect. It's not a seal like your typical one. I do believe, again, it is a bushing. All right, so that's about it for this one. 02 Honda Accord BAXA. We did the assembly, went very well. Now you know what, here you have a pressure switch. All right, let me just put this on. Okay, when you order the pressure switches, you know, they go by color. This is for second gear. All right, so you want to be, when you put these on, you know, they say the torque is like 10 to 12 foot-pounds. I kind of just go by feel, and the one on the end cover is third. Okay, so you want to just snug it and then give it a little. That's it. Right there. All right, that's the assembly, BAXA 02 Honda Accord 4-cylinder. Again, came in typical clogged screen, which did not move when it got hot. All right, guys, I thank you for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you next one. Oh, any other questions or anything on this assembly? I don't have the lines. I didn't put the lines on. The MLP switch goes here with a cover, you know, but that's all pretty basic stuff. But any questions or anything, you know, just let me know. Thanks for watching again. Have a great day.